As the stealthy figure of the J-35 sweeps over Kashmir, is the Indian Air Force doomed to lose the skies of South Asia? On May 16, 2025, a statement from Pakistan's Ministry of Defense was like a strategic bombshell, announcing that China would deliver the first batch of J-35 stealth fighters 6 months ahead of schedule, a timing that was only 9 days after the May 7 India-Pakistan air war, and the smoke from the wreckage of the Indian Rafale has not yet cleared. Air war in India and Pakistan on May 7, only 9 days passed, and the Indian Rafale fighter plane wreckage of smoke has not yet dissipated. This sudden acceleration of armaments not only exposed the fatal shortcomings of the Indian Air Force, but also pushed the game between the two countries, which has lasted for decades and is intertwined with nuclear deterrence and conventional warfare, to a critical point full of uncertainty. The delivery of the J-35, a foreign trade model in the stealth coating, an avionics system than the self-use version of the adjustment, but its 0.05 square meters of radar reflective area, is still on the Indian main fighter aircraft to form a downward strike, Rafale, the most advanced model of the reflective area of 1 square meters, while the Su-30 MKI is as high as 4.5 square meters. This difference is equivalent to having Indian pilots hold up a flashlight in a pitch-black room, while their opponents wear night vision devices with the detection distance of 250 kilometers of gallium nitride radar and the range of 200 kilometers of the Thunderbolt 1-5E missiles. The PAF can be found in the Indian warplanes, are not yet a threat to complete the locking and striking. This, found that is destroyed, the mode of operation, has been in the May 7 air war in the first hints. J-10CE in the early warning aircraft guided by the Indian Rafale down 160 kilometers away, creating a 4th-generation aircraft against the 4.5 generations of warplanes. This is an example of asymmetric warfare between a 4th-generation aircraft and a 4.5-generation fighter aircraft. What makes India more anxious is the gap of systematic combat capability. Pakistan Air Force through the ZDK-03 AWACS, J-10CP, and the Lord Dragon Block E construction of the Chinese combat chain in the air war to show amazing synergy efficiency. The addition of J-35 will upgrade this system to a stealth node plus data center composite architecture. Its distributed optoelectronic aperture system can share real-time battlefield situation, commanding drones to carry out electromagnetic suppression, and even guide the rocket artillery force to the exposed Indian air defense positions to carry out cross-domain strikes. In contrast, the Indian Air Force is equipped with the Russian A-50 early warning aircraft. The French Rafale and the domestic light fighter, due to the data chain standards, are not the same. The command system has repeatedly appeared in the target miscalculation and overlap of firepower. This structural defect in the air war in May directly led to 3 Su-30 MKI by their own air defense missiles shot down. China's unconventional pace of delivery contains far-reaching strategic considerations. First of all, by quickly filling the gap between Pakistan's 5th-generation aircraft, can effectively hedge India's $8.8 billion Rafale procurement pressure, although the Rafale unit price of up to $240 million, but its 4.5-generation nature in the face of the J-35, as if holding a spear against the stealth sniper. Secondly, the deepening of China-Pakistan military cooperation is forming a new model of equipment output plus system integration, from the joint production of the Dragon fighter to the J-10CP tactical data chain adaptation, and then to the depth of the integration of J-35 and Baidu navigation system. China is actually creating a set of independently controllable air warfare operating system. For Pakistan, this systematic advantage is far more than the difference in the generation of a single weapon has a more strategic value. It is worth noting that the sale of arms also implies a strategic hold on the United States and India. India, in order to obtain F-35, need to fully reverse to the United States, but this will jeopardize the traditional military trade relations with Russia. If you choose the Russian Su-57, is facing a lack of production capacity and technical emasculation of the double predicament. By precisely grasping India's strategic anxiety, China has successfully dragged it into the arms race trap. It is estimated that India will need to invest at least $20 billion in upgrading its air defense systems and purchasing new aircraft if it wants to set up a reciprocal countermeasure, which would be tantamount to financial suicide for the Modi government, which is mired in a 7.2% inflation rate. Behind the delivery of J-35 hides a complex economic game. Pakistan adopts the innovative mode of resource collateral plus installment payment, and plans to offset part of the cost of warplanes with the 15-year mining right of Rezdak copper and gold mine, which not only eases the financial pressure on the Pakistani side, but also ensures the security of China's strategic mineral supply chain. Saudi Arabia through the Oil for Warplanes mechanism to provide $3 billion of dark line funds, more reflecting the Middle East countries on the recognition of China's military system. The United Arab Emirates has sent a delegation to visit the J-35. The future may be formed in the Middle East capital plus China's technology of the new military trade alliance, which constitutes a direct challenge to the U.S. military-industrial complex. However, the high maintenance cost is still a potential risk. J-35 hourly flight cost of $48,000 is 3 times the Dragon fighter. The PAF's existing 20 J-10CE average annual maintenance costs have accounted for 23% of the Air Force budget. To this end, China's innovative launch of the Full Life Cycle Protection Program by the Shenfei Group, stationed technical teams stationed in Pakistan, through predictive maintenance and modularization of replacement parts, will reduce the failure rate of 62%. This turnkey project model is becoming a new benchmark in the field of military trade. India's response reflects the deep-seated structural predicament. ANCA 5th-generation aircraft project because of engine dependence on General Electric F414 installed in 2025 only to complete the first technical verification unit installed. Urgent procurement of 26 Rafale M carrier aircraft due to electromagnetic catapult system incompatibility with the Vikrant carrier. The formation of the ship without a machine. The embarrassing situation. More deadly. India's military-industrial system is difficult to support the technology across. When China through the 3D printing technology, will J-35 fuselage manufacturing cycle shorten to 18 days? Hindustan Aeronautics Corporation still need to France Dassault engineers with a dongle on site to unlock the Rafale fighter's fire control system parameters. The far-reaching implications of this game go beyond the military. China and Pakistan jointly constructed Momand hydropower station, so that Pakistan's control over the Indus River water flow from 20% to 60%. With the J-35 air deterrent, the formation of Water Conservancy, air power, double checks and balances. Although the Modi government suddenly announced the extension of the ceasefire agreement on May the 18th, its simultaneous promotion of the border infrastructure strengthening program reveals the contradictory postures of strategic appeasement and tactical aggressiveness. Instead, this swinging tactic has accelerated the strategic awakening of South Asian countries. Bangladesh has signed a procurement agreement for 16 J-10CEs. Nepal has restarted negotiations on the China-Nepal Railway, and regional forces are reorganizing themselves into a new security architecture with China at its core. History is always full of dramatic twists and turns. 70 years ago, India dominated the skies of South Asia with the British legacy Canberra bomber, but now it is being passive in the era of the 5th-generation aircraft due to systemic deficiencies. As the turbofan engines of the J-35 roar over Karachi, this half-century-long power shift is writing a new geopolitical script in the form of stealth fighters.